All right. So, on the last few episodes that we did, we imported our sphere and our leads into KVcore. We got them set up with some hashtags, hopefully. We created some campaigns, or we at least modified some of the existing campaigns within KVcore so that once the leads arrive in our CRM, something starts happening to them in order to, maintain contact with them, whether that's a reminder to you, the agent, to reach out to them, or whether there's some automations going out to them, contacting them with text messages and emails and things like that. Hopefully, the emails that we've modified sound more like us than they do when they're right out of the box, because the right out of the box stuff tends to sound a little spammy, a little robotic. So we'll anybody who needs more help on going through those campaigns can reach out to me directly, and I will do my best to get it into your KVcore with you on a Zoom meeting, and we'll tinker with some of the campaigns that you've got. We also experimented with a little bit with posting on social media. Some of the stuff that we were doing was to create Facebook posts using the listings on our company listings. So we can go in there. If we don't have any listings of our own, we can promote other EXP agents listings. Mike, did you know if it's possible up in your area to promote another EXP agent's listings without permission, or do you have to contact the agent?
No, we're totally fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Down here too. Down here in Arizona, as long as it's an EXP listing, we can promote their listing. So we've done a little bit of that. And so now what I want to be able to do is kind of teach a little bit of the fun stuff that we can do as a part of our regular weekly activity on KVcore, because there should be, in order to get leads out of any kind of a system, and especially internet generated leads, the conversion rates on internet leads are just characteristically pretty low. They're between 1% and 5%, 7% if you're crushing it. Right. And the more quality that you can create, the better. But you also want to create some quantity, because especially in a slow market, the more leads you have come in, the more that you'll convert just by playing the numbers game. And internet leads are going to convert at at a pretty typical rate, and since they require so much consistent follow-up, it's almost impossible to generate the number of leads that you need to generate in order to convert and actually reach out and touch these people yourself. So you just need the automations, So the automations are a really big part of this. But what we want to be able to do is have a calendar set up for ourselves each week with daily activities that we can do that will allow us to go out and grab maybe 2 or 3 leads a day from each of these different channels, and if we can do that, if we can generate a handful of leads a day, every 5-6 days a week, then you'll have the hundreds of leads that you need to convert 2 to 3 to 4 leads over time. So there is a plugin, and I was telling Mike just a minute ago that I think we should all be using KVcore in the Chrome browser. I think that's important because there is a plugin in the Chrome browser called KVcore There's an extension. So what you'll do is you can go over and type in KVcore extension Chrome.
Did you want to share your screen, Dennis?
Oh, am I not sharing it? Okay, good. Thank you.
Now.
Thank you. All right. So if you type in KVcore extension for Chrome, it'll take you to this page here where you can install the Chrome extension. Okay. When you install the Chrome extension, it'll put a little icon up here in your upper right-hand portion of your Chrome browser, and it'll allow you to set the URL for Craigslist. So the interesting thing about being able to do these posts with Craigslist is that, similar to what we were doing when we were on Facebook and grabbing a company listing and then just promoting it on Facebook in the hopes that someone in our either our Facebook friends or our Facebook business page followers will click on it and become a lead. Something similar is doable when it comes to using Craigslist. I know Craigslist is, not as popular as it once was, but it's still a place that people go looking for stuff and bounce around looking for rentals. They might bounce over to your house listing and want to take a look at it. So it's important to have this as part of your daily routine when it comes to posting to try to generate leads. It's free, so why not do it, right? So you download the KVcore Chrome extension. Once you get it set up, you'll click on this little icon. You'll set the URL, which is essentially it sets the Craigslist location for you. So for me, I'm using Phoenix. I also want to make sure that it works. And so we'll go test it in KVcore by pulling up a company listing. So once you've got your extension set up, you'll go over to your company listings. And as I explained to you guys before, probably the best leads, particularly for the Craigslist postings, might even be like the just below the market average, more affordable, kind of high traffic sort of homes, right? So you don't want to post $1 million homes in Craigslist for sure. That's not where people who are shopping for $1 million homes are looking, without a doubt. People are on Craigslist a lot of times looking for rentals. So you may want to be able to post something in here to generate something like, okay, for example, in my area, South Phoenix is an area where your houses are still between 300 and 400,000, just below the market average for the Phoenix Metro. So if I found something, let's say in South Phoenix for around, I mean, you could post land and everything in here, but it wouldn't hurt to do a few varieties of things on your Craigslist. Let me just try to grab one in here that I think might be a good fit. Something for, well, you know what? There's one in Tempe for 400. Let's see about Tempe. Let me look at this house.
That's a shock to find something for 400 in Tempe.
Tempe, I know it's a little older, if it's close to the university, it might be something for somebody. Somebody might be looking for school housing, might be interested. It's a 3% rev on that. So it's got an $11,850 potential revenue on here. So why not get that out there? So again, like we did before, you may still want to grab this link and post it to your Facebook like you were doing before. That's always, the first step when you come into these company listings is to create a post. We know how to do that by dropping the link in, waiting for the picture to populate, wiping out the link, going in with, some sort of a property description. You can use Chat GPT to do that. However you want to do that, you can type it up yourself. But this will post it across all your Facebook and get leads that way. The other thing that you want to do with this is you want to drop down where it says more actions. And this is how you'll be able to tell whether or not your Craigslist KVcore plugin for Chrome is working. When I click post to Craigslist, the coolest thing happens. It asks me where I want to post this because I have Phoenix, Arizona as the main site. If I'm going to click, that's kind of East Valley, kind of Central South, but I'm going to just click East Valley. So what it's going to do is it's going to pick the East Valley area in Craigslist, and it's going to automatically create and populate a whole bunch of stuff on this listing. Watch how fast this does. I click that. It goes through all of the initial setup for Craigslist. It's uploading the images, and boom, I have got an instant Craigslist post. I mean, literally instant Craigslist post for this property, right? It creates a description. It creates a tag. It creates, keywords. It uses the property description that was in the listing. Now, what it also does is it creates a call to action at the bottom, which is the MLS ID number and the smart number. Now, if you don't already have your own smart number, which I do here, which this has some automations attached to it. When somebody texts this MLS ID to my smart number, KVcore knows to take a certain action on that listing. But in your case, if you don't have a smart number yet, you may not want to just be blasting out the generic KVcore smart number that they assign you because it is the round robin number. So you'll want to go in and you'll want to edit the post a little bit. You'll want to come down, hit edit post on the bottom, and then you'll want to change this number to your cell phone number right here. Okay. That's probably the only change that you can make. You can maybe even want to change what you want them to text. You can just put, Tempe listing or something like that. text Tempe to, and I'll just put my regular cell phone number in here for this one. Okay. Once you've done that, you can actually put show my number if you want to and put that in there as well. All right. All right. So now it doesn't have the address in here. You could decide that you want to show the address. It gives you kind of an area right here. Now, if you wanted to show the address, you can. By default, it does not show that. But now when I hit publish, it actually creates a Craigslist post that if somebody reaches out and texts this message, I'm going to get another lead out of this really simple, 10-second Craigslist post. So what we're just trying to do is just trying to be as present in all places as possible with the least amount of expense and the greatest amount of ease, so that you can just be out there often enough to where eventually the leads will start trickling in, and eventually the trickle will turn into a little bit more of a flow, and then you'll have automation set up to be able to take care of these potential clients, whether it's buyers or sellers. Now, this is another way to generate some buyer traffic on your KVcore. And again, we want to have some of those automations set up, but if not, if it's just as simple as them calling you on the phone and texting you, you could go in and put them into your KVcore manually after they've texted you. So now somebody is going to see this Craigslist post. They're going to text me the words Tempe to my cell phone number. If I get a text message and all it says is Tempe and it's a phone number, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up the phone and I'm going to call this lead and say, hey, you're interested in the house for sale over in Tempe, the 3-bed, 2-bath house. When would you like to go see it? And try and set up some buyer appointments that way. You're going to need to be consistent with this, just like any other kind of marketing effort. It can't just be, I posted once on Craigslist, I didn't get any calls, oh, I'm done with this. It's got to be part of your daily and weekly routine. And because it's so simple and because it's so fast and because it took literally no effort whatsoever to create this, I don't see why people wouldn't be doing this 3, 4, 5 times a day, And as you guys know or maybe you don't know, but how the Craigslist algorithm works is if it's not a current listing for today, it won't be at the top of the list. So you almost want to do this every single day, whether it's the same property every single day or a different property. It doesn't really matter. Your goal is to stay at the top of the list on Craigslist searches when people are out looking for housing. And something that can be done in literally 10 seconds like that ought to be something that you just do every day, So that's how we are going to try and utilize the KVcore plugin on Chrome to promote company listings or your listings on Craigslist. That's just another avenue. So now we've got Facebook posts happening with links to your website where people can go become a lead. We have Craigslist posts where people are going to come across it and text you on your cell phone or on your smart number eventually when you get one. And the same thing can be done similarly with posting to, I don't have a Pinterest account, but if you wanted to post to Pinterest, you could. Curious what it looks like on there. I don't have a Pinterest account, but that's basically what it would look like. It'll kind of show you what your post would look like on Pinterest.
I saw you've got it's got an option for post to Facebook. Is that faster than what? I mean, it's already pretty darn fast the way you do it.
I mean, it is faster, but it's also a bit more generic, and you have to make sure that your Facebook is connected. So what it will do is when I post to Facebook, it does something similar to what we're doing when we post it on our Facebook page. You could still come in here with your description and stuff like this. So right now it's asking if it's want to post to my personal Facebook page. I can tell that by the picture. That's the one that I have connected right now. It's going to post it on my feed, or you could post it to your story or both, right? And then if I wanted to create the description, I'm going to steal this property description here. And then I'm going to go over to ChatGPT. I'm on the paid version now because the other one was clogging up. Use this property description to create an engaging Facebook post inviting people to check out this home. Use emojis and a call to action to click the photo below.
Did I forget something? But is 85281 still a very highly sought after area?
I mean, it is because it's near the university. I mean,
That's true. It's near Scottsdale, and yeah, okay. It's just the cop in me.
well, yeah, it's highly sought after for what, right? That's
It depends upon what you're looking for.
yeah, yeah. There's a lot of dispensaries down there, let's just say.
Really, I forgot it's legalized again.
Oh, you know what's crazy is you're driving. Yeah, there's a. I think we have one of the biggest supply houses for the dispensaries right near there, as you're
Oh
going down
wow.
I-17. Okay, but I mean that's not a bad Facebook post. I mean it's a little bit lengthier than I like, but you get the idea. So if I come in here and I drop that in my post, that's also a quick way to do it. Now it's going to post on my feed in my story, and I'm going to hit that, and it will be living on my Facebook page. So again, I've done 2 posts in a matter of under 5 minutes. You know, I got a Craigslist post, I've got a Facebook post. I hope that posted there. It doesn't give me any other options here. There we go. Boom. Posted. All right. So now I've got that. And you've got this link where you could post it on a few other places. Now, if you wanted to post to Twitter, if you wanted to post to um, Pinterest, if you've got a Pinterest, you can do that. The key is to try to just generate as much traffic on your website as you possibly can, and being able to do it for $0. I mean, you could also boost these posts, but as we noticed before, boosting posts casts a much wider net because it's outside of just the people who are going to see your Facebook feed or outside the people you have on your friends list. The Craigslist post casts a pretty wide net, but it's also maybe not the ideal buyer client, but enough people are on there that eventually you'll snag somebody who happens to be looking or is interested in what you posted. The paid posts are the ones that cast the probably the best and widest net over the largest number of people in a geographic area, but it also runs you $60 every time you post. Now, there are paid Facebook posts that you can do from your business page. So if you posted something on your business page if you posted something on your Facebook business page, like one of these, and again, that's why I think that the KVcore post, where we're grabbing the link and posting it on our personal business pages is the way to go, because I don't think at least I don't have the business page connected on KVcore. I'm not sure if I need to go back and change something, but similar to what we did before, we do that. We drag over the description here. Boom, we have a Facebook post on our business page. Now from the business page, you can click boost post. And when you post that, what it's going to do is it's going to post on my Facebook business page, and then it's going to give you some paid options. You could run this essentially as an ad for a few days with whatever amount of spend you want to spend. And it gives you the estimated daily results on how many people are going to see it. You also have to specify that it's a special ad category because it has to do with housing. And because we're subject to fair housing laws, this is what the ad's going to look like. I have a message template right here that I've already set up where, if somebody does Facebook message me off of this ad, it says, can I schedule a viewing? Are there new properties available? Can I speak to an agent? It has some automation even within Facebook, and it lets me decide, because it's fair housing, I cannot modify the audience details. What I can do is I can target interests, but I can't weed out or specifically go after people based on a protected class. I can't say I just want people over a certain age or in a certain demographic or a certain gender or anything like that. I have to keep it really general, but I can search interests. Right now, they have they have some generic interests in there. If I wanted to target based on interest, I could type home ownership. Or let's see, home buyers, if they have that. First time home buyers. Sure, why not? So anyway, you can save that audience. You can determine, who with which likes and interests that they've already specified to Facebook, and then you could determine the number of days that you want to post it for and how much you actually want to spend in total. If I wanted to spend the same as I would spend on a KVcore property boost, that's $60 for 7 days. It tells me essentially what type of reach that I will get with this. Between 475 and 1,400 people will see that post. How many leads will you get from that? Well, you never know. I've gotten, on each of my boosts, I've gotten between, when the market was really hot, between 12 and 15 people click. When the market slowed down, it's between like 6 and 8, for $60. But if you get one deal out of a $60 post, it's insignificant. So it's worth it. So there's a few different ways to generate some buyer traffic on your page, using your Facebook business page, using the links from the property listings. Now, the one other cool thing I wanted to show you guys in the next few minutes here is how to use some of the KVcore tools to go after listings, and some other outside tools that we'll kind of incorporate as well to try to make it so that we can actually reach out to these people. Because if we go to our MLSs and we just go to the main page on our MLS, we're going to see that every day there's a dashboard that shows us. And I don't know if yours is the same up in Washington, Mike, but I would suspect that most of these Flex MLSs are pretty similar on their dashboards. There is a dashboard that tells us some metrics about our local market. It tells us, all the new listings, the new under contracts, the new contract contingents, everything that went on in the past week that's temp off market, that's been extended, and so forth. The ones that I want to focus on are canceled and expired. And believe me when I tell you, there are dozens, if not hundreds, of other agents also reaching out to these or trying to reach out to these. So we have to do something that's unique to make a value proposition to these people to work with us. So in these canceled listings, for example, if I click on canceled, these are good leads to work for listings because they already wanted to sell with somebody and something happened. So either it didn't pan out, they just didn't get the traffic, they changed their mind. Well, we're going to want to try and find out. But what we'll want to do is try to maybe look at areas where we happen to be, near, at a price point that we happen to want to work. We can even filter it out a little bit better by sorting by price, for example, descending for. Okay. I'd love to be able to go get that $19 million listing.
Go get it. Take the 17. Don't be greedy.
All right. They're over in Desert Mountain. I'll take, maybe if I get the 17, I can convince the 19 to come along for the ride. The Ferrari's over there. An actual Ferrari, Formula One car. Wow.
That totally looks like Tony Stark's basement.
Right?
Not like the staircase.
Yeah. There's the motor for the Iron Man suit right there.
I'm wondering if it isn't where they filmed part of it.
It would be, yeah. So, obviously, Dave, shoot high. Go get a $19 million listing. That's good for you. But what we basically can try and do here is go find out what happened with some of these listings. Now, I would imagine some of these higher end listings, you're going to have a hard time tracking down who the people are and how to get a hold of them. But why not? Why not? I mean, it's tough to go just bang on the door of a $2, $3, $4 million listing. Most of them are in gated communities, but this is an opportunity to maybe go knock on some doors. But at the same time, we can do some virtual door knocking as well and try to figure out how to get these listings. Right? I'm going to try to find a price point and an area that's a little closer to where I am. So if I have to go knock on the door, it's not far away. Let's see if I can find anything in my zip code. Let's see. That's not too far. 85051. All right. I'm going to click on the detail and I'm going to go find out what happened with this. It was on the market for 277 days, right? They originally listed it for 945. They got down to 775 and gave up, you know? Now they just took it off market on 3/8. It's vacant and it doesn't say the owner occupant name, but I can figure that out. There is a website here. You and I have talked about this, Mike. This has been around for a while, or these kinds of things. This is a free one, though, because there are some paid services that you can use. And this isn't, 100% accurate, but it's certainly a great place to start. You go to truepeoplesearch.com. I'm going to use the reverse address lookup, and I am going to pull this address in 3412 West Orangewood Drive, or West Orangewood Ave. 3412 West Orangewood Ave, Phoenix. What? All right. Okay. So it's telling me Nancy Rentschler and Daniel Rentschler are who live there, right? So let me find out if that's actually true. The way to know that for sure is to click on Monsoon and see if that's who it says. No, Azilis LLC. Azilis LLC. Well, this one might be a little bit tougher because I'm not sure if Daniel and another person, Nancy, are renters renting it from them. So when you have an entity, let's do this a different way. Let me make sure that we're not working with an entity and that we're instead working with an actual seller. Let's try a different one real quickly here. Monsoon, Michael and Brooke Weissman on Marigold. Okay, I like this one. Let's do this one instead. 2605 West Desert Marigold. 2605 West Desert Marigold. Michael Weissman and Brooke Weissman. There they are. So these are the sellers. And now I have some information. I mean, this house was on the market for 86 days. They started at 750, didn't do much on the price. They were with Hague Partners. That's 72 sold. So, there could be a number of reasons why this didn't sell. They may not have, liked the whole format of what 72 sold was going to do. And why not go out and try and grab this listing, figure out what happened. Now, in order to reach out to them, you either need to go knock on their door or possibly see if Michael, click on he's got several phone numbers here. Does he have any email addresses? No. But I know some information about Michael now. I know that they've lived in, both Arizona, New York, and New Jersey. He may potentially own a contracting company, potentially. And we have a few phone numbers that we can attempt to reach out to him and give him a call and say if there's anything that we might be able to do to help him or to help Brooke get their house sold. Now, in being prepared for having this conversation, what we may want to do is to create, using some of the KVcore tools, a COREpresent on this property. 2605 West Desert Marigold. We have an awful lot of information about this home. We know what they thought the home was worth. They thought it was 72 sold, thought it was 749,000. So if we go into KVcore and into COREpresent, we want to win this listing. We create this for the seller. 2605 West Desert Marigold. There we go. This is a 4-bed, 3-bath. Okay, we've got a pretty fair amount of listings and activity around here. 1 active, 3 pending, and 9 sold. We want to maybe narrow that down to like the last 4 months. The market's changed a little bit, maybe 3 months. 6 sold matches, that's pretty good. And the square footage on this one is 2469. I don't mind being up as high as 29. Maybe let's keep it above 2000. Okay. So now we've just kind of tinkered with some of the details of the property to try to narrow down so that there's not quite as many comps to pull. Not that you don't want a bunch of comps, but I think between 5 and 7 is good, or even between 3 and 7 is good. If you have less than 3, maybe you want to open up the numbers a little bit because it's hard to comp something with only 3 listings. Now we're going to build the CMA. Now, here's where you want to spend a little bit of time, doing some outside research. Like, for example, we went over to Monsoon already. We already know what they priced it at and didn't sell. We want to apply some criteria in the comping tool for using. So based on price per square foot, 605, based on fair cash value, set 733. So you'll want to spend a little bit of time getting familiar with the listings that are pulled into your comping tool, however you choose to comp it. And I would even recommend pulling in that same information from something like RPR. So the more information that you gather that you can compile for them, the more thorough of a comp you'll be able to do. 2605 West Desert Marigold. Okay. So they probably priced it based on this RVM. Looks like they got pretty close. 724 on the low side, 785 on the high side, a pretty high confidence score. If we view the details in here, we can see what properties that were used to comp it. 730, 750, 586. This home was built in 2016. So these are pretty strong comps, I think. They're not far off, although I would want to see what's going on with these and why they're so different. But looks like the property, this one is actually got a lot of really nice renovations done. It looks like it should be able to sell up there, and why it didn't sell is going to be a good question. I think that grabbing that information, grabbing even maybe the Zillow estimate, even though they're all way off usually on Zillow, you just want to be able to know what they're seeing because they're certainly familiar with what their Zillow estimate is, whether you prefer to agree with that or not. See if Zillow has an estimate. Zillow is saying 730. Okay. So Zillow saying 730, RPR saying around between 725 and 785. Monsoon is telling you it could be 730. The price per square foot's off because of some other properties that you'll want to look into. And plus, there's just way too many properties there. So we'll go within a half mile lot square footage plus or minus 5%. The building square footage plus or minus 10%. Do it in the last 3 months and apply and see what we get. Half mile's too short. Okay. Wow. Okay. You got one comparable. And then I'm just tweaking this to try to get a little bit more information. So with 2 comps, they're lower. They're a little bit further away than I like, but sold in the last 6 months between 643 and 759 based on fair cash value. I would say that that's probably why this didn't sell, because they're using 730, they're using 750 as their comp, but buyers are out there shopping and they're seeing information that's maybe thinks that it should be down at 650, 645, maybe even just about 7 potentially. Now, what you want to do is you want to use this information that you've got, go back into your COREpresent, You can see that the average of pendings is 614. The average to close is 652, right? Yeah, there are some actives at 730. The highest sold was 734. They're above this chart on what they were listing, according to what even COREpresent is telling us. So if we wanted to enter a price, we could say that we think the price is between 675 and 715. All right. It's going to put me kind of squarely in the middle of all these here. Most recent solds, the closest sold was down here. And you want them to be able to see this, and you want to be prepared with this information because you may have an opportunity to send this to them. I don't currently have their email address, but I want to have this on deck to be able to share with them when the time comes, right? So now I have this information. I think that their house is worth between 675 and 715. It'd be nice to be able to get over and actually see it in person. But now I've got a COREpresent put together for a seller in order to generate, the potential of me getting a listing out of this deal. So now I have this in my COREpresent. I have the link ready to go when I need to either text it or email it to the potential client. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up the phone and I'm going to try to give Brooke or Michael a call and ask them, what happened with their home. I noticed that their home was listed for a while. It just recently came off the market. I was just wondering if it's still available. I might have some potential buyers that would be interested in the home. Are you still working with the agent? Are you still interested in selling it? What we can probably do later on is figure out a script for that. I mean, I sort of fly by the seat of my pants when it comes to having those conversations because I've had them so often that I don't use much of a script, but I would imagine that there are some scripts for that sort of thing. And we can probably talk about putting something together. Ultimately, if we get their information, what we want to be able to do is, maybe email them. Can I email you an interactive property valuation on your home? Just so you can see what we might be able to do in order to get your home sold. And then what you would do is you would send them the KVcore created COREpresent, and they would be able to click through it and see all of the things that you put together for them in this interactive format. And for those that don't know, once you actually create a COREpresent, what we'll be able to do is actually go in and look and see the metrics on how they interacted with the presentation. So, for example, once they've clicked on it, you can see, okay, they watched 31 minutes of this presentation. They looked at 14 slides. Here's where they spent the most time. They spent the most time on the buyer demand page. It shows where they clicked. They looked at the big picture scale. They looked at a bunch of different properties on here and they clicked around. One in particular that they spent the most time looking at was this one here on 7602 North 20th Street. We also know that they were, questioning whether or not the market was fresh or stale by one of the pages that they spent some time looking at as well. So they have some suggested follow-up questions for them based on their interaction. So you can use this as a way to get yourself in front of the seller and try to see whether or not you might be able to generate listings this way. And again, this was a very low cost, very inexpensive way to generate a lead. It's already there in front of you. I mean, it's right there inside your MLS. There's 479 of these to go choose from, plenty of leads to go call. And being able to grab them through something like True People Search and actually get some possible actual phone numbers for them, and be able to reach out and contact these people is almost a no-brainer. We should really be doing this, so particularly at a time like this where the market has slowed down a little bit and sellers are having some difficulty. Build your value proposition by going out and talking to these people and seeing if you could step in and sell the home where somebody else couldn't. And out of 479 canceled listings, you're bound to find somebody who just didn't click with the agent and canceled for a reason that you might be able to solve. You are certainly going to get a bunch of these that are, going to say, hang up the phone, be rude to you. And I wouldn't be discouraged by that. That's just the way it is. These are all numbers games. But you could do the same thing with these as expireds, right? So you'll want to, do the same thing with the expired listings. There's 155 expireds. That might be a smaller list for you to pick from because those just ran out of time. These ones actually canceled. So there's going to be a slightly different conversation between the expireds and the canceled. Expireds, they just ran all the way to the end of their term on their listing agreement. Canceled, they actually had some sort of a change of heart that you'll need to probe for. Okay. So we've got some tools now, right? We've got the ability to post on Craigslist. We already know how to post on Facebook, and now we have Instagram and we have Twitter and even Pinterest if you want. Post those links everywhere that you can to generate some leads. Use COREpresent to create listing presentations that are showstoppers. Anybody that I know that's used these COREpresent presentations has really wowed the client. And then just stay active on a daily basis, going into your KVcore and grabbing company listings and using them to promote your business. And then make that a daily and a weekly routine. And I promise you, you will get leads from it. You know, maybe slow out of the gate, but as long as you just remain consistent with it, you will get leads. And if you've done the homework on getting your marketing in order, then the leads that come into your KVcore will also start getting touched regularly from you, and you'll be reminded to reach out to them and call them. So with that being said, I know we're a little bit early, so we can all get on about our days. Does anybody have any questions about any of the stuff we shared today? Mike?
First of all, thank you so much for doing this. This is you to take your time to do this. I'm like, my mind is blown with that Craigslist and that extension thing. So I will be hopping on that. Question though is, when you do the phone calling, what steps do you do to determine if that individual's on a no-call list?
That's a good question. I know that that's kind of a gray area that we live in here with these, because you have to be able to run all of these people through the actual do not call list is pretty tricky. And so you can go to the do not call registry and type in their number, right? I think the do not call registry has a way for you to check up to 3 numbers to see if they're on the do not call registry.
I've never hopped on it, so it's just something that you can just Google and say, hey, do not call registry, and they'll probably pop up. I didn't know
if you want to be absolutely Girl Scout by the book.
Yes. I don't want to get sued like everybody has started to get sued.
Right. No, you can see whether or not the number is on there. I believe there's a way for you to check to see. I think you can check up to 3 numbers on the FTC's website on the do not call.gov to see whether or not the number is on there. I think you can check 3 at a time. So I would suggest, if I mean, certainly be friendly and cordial with the person when you call them. And if they ask you not to call, certainly don't bug them and call them back. Just, I can certainly see why that would. I mean, it's not like a call list that would be scrubbed for the do not call list. When you buy call lists from places, a lot of times they'll scrub them against the do not call registry. I
think the way that you go about it, when you call them, you say, hey, kind of what happened. I might have a buyer for you, because might is a very vague term.
Exactly.
I might have one in an hour or 2 days from now, so I'd like to know because it's a cool house. And if they engage in the conversation, I think it turns it around from a solicitation to a just a normal everyday Joe conversation.
Yeah, and that's kind of how I would play that conversation too, because when I call them, I basically kind of come along those lines and say, hey, I've noticed your listing was recently taken down. Was there any reason why are you no longer selling?